Players can begin this third round. So, okay, so we've got Smash, we've got Distraction. Let's see what else these guys have as far as we've got Horn of the Unicorn to give plus attack. We've got Gearing Up. Gearing Up was one of my very early favorites for Dice Masters. It's the same effect as drawing cards. I love that in games where you draw cards from a deck, but instead you're going to get to pull more dice from your bag. Very easy to understand why it's such an appealing effect. So there's Kobold on Trubie's team, and Kobold has Swarm. It's going to allow you to draw extra dice just for the, you did a good job by having the Kobold on your team. Okay, so six dice getting rolled this turn. Anything can happen. 2 and 3. So 6 dice, lots of energy, lots of options. One of the things that gives Trubie so many options in this situation is just the fact that he's got so many low-cost characters. He's got Kobold, he's got Green Goblin, he's got Black Widow, he's got Human Torch. So he could easily just decide, I'm going to fill up my bag with tons of characters here and go nuts. The fact that he's got 2 sidekicks available means he's going to be able to thin out the contents of the bag. Let's see what he does. So he's going to field 2 sidekicks and going to use the Blue Eyes White Dragon effect to get 2 damage, 2 cost reduction to his Green Goblin die. Oh, sorry, to his Human Torch die. So the benefit here is he's traded 2 dice now for 3 energy total. I say 3 because it's 2 right now and 1 later. It's good. It's a very sound investment. It lets you realize that Blue Eyes White Dragon is not only an energy fixer, but it's also a low-level accelerator. Very, very effective. He's got a mask available. He's probably going to use the Professor X Global, but he's also probably not going to be able to roll all of the dice that he's got. So let's see what Adam does here. So if we look at Adam's team, it's very straightforward, very Marvel intensive. In fact, he chose to use no cards from other sets. Just the only thing that's outside of MDM1 actually is Professor X Trainer, and there's no avoiding how incredibly good Professor X is. So we've got Loki Gemkeeper. I'm curious what Adam wants to stop from happening, because that is, if you're playing Gemkeeper, you're saying to yourself, there is a die that I don't want to deal with, and it's tough to say what out of Trubie's team Adam is most worried about. But he might not even know yet. He might just say to himself, you know what, I'm going to force Trubie to change his plan and diversify what he might do, because he just has to be afraid of Gemkeeper. It's going to be interesting, because the players who learn to play very well with Gemkeeper in this format are going to be even better in an upcoming format with DC, because the Joker has a very similar ability. And if you manage against Gemkeeper well, and you played Gemkeeper well, you'll have months, maybe even over a year of experience of dealing with this effect. And it is that kind of experience is precisely what's going to determine the veterans from the newer players. There's a lot of room for new school skill, though, because those people are going to look at situations and they're not going to be hunkered down by the old perception of this is how it used to work or this is how it should work. So Trubie is guaranteed to get his Kobold die that's in his bag during his following turn. He's also going to get a Human Torch die. And then hopefully, he actually hopes he doesn't hit the other 2 Kobold dice, because by getting lucky and not drawing them during his following turn, he's going to be able to use the Swarm ability by leaving Kobold in play. Then again, there's a possibility that he doesn't really care about Swarm, and he's just going to use them as tiny attackers and cheap triggers for the Human Torch, who happen to be fist types. There's a lot of options. These are strategies that I haven't had a lot of experience playing or watching myself, so it's interesting. It's much like chess. When you see an unfamiliar opening, you can sort of imagine where things would go, but you don't know the engine well enough. You don't know the probability to say, aha, this is exactly what should happen. We've had a few players on camera with me today saying that, yeah, practice matters, and this is exactly why. Because you're going to practice against people who are doing things that are unfamiliar to you. So we have a 2 energy discount coming to Adam due to Blue Eyes White Dragon. Okay, so he's buying the 5-cost Storm Wind Rider. This is going to be a really, really controlly game coming from Adam. He's going to have to survive the onslaught from Trubie and Zarina and Kobold, but he could get some big lockdowns. So Trubie drew 2 Kobold dice. He's going to want to attack with at least one of them if they both come with his character faces. If they don't, it's really not that bad. You paid 1 energy for 2 later, and just a better die in your bag. So I wonder to what extent that Smash plus Kobold is supposed to be a wall. I'm not sure how I feel about it. It doesn't necessarily make him a better blocker. You'll notice sitting next to Adam, we've got Dave, who joined me moments ago. So now we start seeing the ping damage. So Adam is down to 15 life. Between the earlier Zarina attack, as well as the fielded Kobold and the Human Torch ability. So Trubie's looking in his bag, trying to figure out what his future economics are like. Okay, so Blue Eyes White Dragon reduction, followed by buying a Wolverine. I believe that is Wild Boy that he has. Okay, and so then he's got another Kobold ready to draw it. Okay, so Adam has got his Loki Gemkeeper, and comes with masks. So, despite being such a huge bomb card, Gemkeeper is not going to do very much if he is only mask energy. It's going to help Adam, move the ball down the field a little bit in terms of getting to the next big die, the next bomb. But oh, there it is. There's the character face for Loki. Okay, so Adam is fielding Loki. Okay, name's Black Widow. Thank you, gentlemen, for pointing, because I can't hear you from where I am. So Loki is going to put a big stop to Black Widow, and if you take a look at the characters that Trubie's got on his team, he doesn't really have a firm answer to Gemkeeper. He doesn't have Magneto to get him to reroll. He doesn't have a Storm that's going to make him reroll. He doesn't even have a forced attack global to just say, hey, I'll take the damage, come at me. So that could be the end of Black Widow for Trubie. But there's also the possibility that just a situation arises where Adam has to do something that'll make him, let's say, block or otherwise sacrifice the Loki. And developing that kind of linchpin situation to get at Trubie is going to be a really, really smart move. Okay, here goes Trubie, here he rolls. Okay. 2 masks. Oh, 3 masks, a bolt, a shield, 3 fists, psychic. Yeah, this is a lot of options. Black Widow's energy is exactly what he wants due to the Gemkeeper being around. If things were different, Trubie might be able to field enough characters to let the Human Torch burn Loki down. But that is so incredibly difficult. There's so many characters. I believe that Loki has upward of 5 defense on most of his faces. So Adam goes to 14. There's also the chance that if Adam doesn't have a solution to Human Torch, that Trubie burns him out before Loki leaves the field. With Storm Wind Rider, it seems unlikely, but it could happen. Trubie's got a lot of built-in ways to make the game inevitable for him once he's got this early lead on Adam. He's got Human Torch, he's got Gabi, he's got Black Widow. And so Black Widow shut down, which means we'll have to shift gears away from her. But he's gonna roll a lot of dice. He's gonna field a lot of characters. We'll just have to see what happens. I was curious going into this weekend whether or not we'd see swarm teams that tried to take advantage of Human Torch. And I think seeing it now, seeing the Blue Eyes White Dragon with the Human Torch, with Cobalt, I think this is the beginning of a team that has a lot of long-term potential. People are going to figure out what the next link in the chain is to really make that combo sing. I wonder if it's one of the orcs with Swarm from the D&D expansion, or if it's a card that we haven't seen printed yet. Lot of cool potential there. So Trubie is not using the Professor X Global, but has ways of getting it. He's going to be able to get the same kind of ramp through Kobolds, and he's going to be able to effectively use his opponent's Professor X. Makes me really question my assumptions about Professor X, that so many people are doing well with not using him today. That being said, he is still probably one of my favorite cards because it's so cool. With the proliferation of action dice, as we saw someone use Prismatic Spray to shut down Professor X, as that becomes more and more popular, the characters who hate on action dice are going to get better. And as some of those characters come out in DC, very eager to see how the game, the meta balances and rebalances itself. Adam has got a ton of energy to work with here. Mask, mask, bolt, fist, fist, fist. He's going to demand Loki punch him, but that is not Loki's style. Okay, so gonna spend. Not sure what Adam is not sure what he wants to do in this situation, and that it surprised me. So he uses Horn of the Unicorn. No, he uses Blue Eyes White Dragon to KO Storm. So he's gonna get to use Storm again next turn, which is really exciting for him. And then he buys Venom. So Venom is going to stop Gabi from being good, and Venom might KO the Human Torch. But Venom does not stop the Kobolds. Venom does not stop Zarina. He's got an answer to Zarina and Loki. But that's what I mentioned earlier, that Adam has got this really control-y lockdown strategy going. I'm really, really eager to see what he ends up making of it. His choice of gearing up is interesting to me. because I wonder whether or not, at least in this situation, if Magic Missile would be better, or if he's more afraid that his opponent would be able to make better use of Magic Missile than he could. Okay. So Trubie is moving his dice around in order to be able to better assess what he wants to roll or re-roll. Well, re-roll. It's really showing off the power of Swarm for players who aren't familiar with it. That he's going to re-roll, so he's going to get to roll so many dice because of the kobolds. It also presents an interesting scenario for gameplay, which is depending on how many you actually have at any given time, depends on how you want to treat them. So with one kobold, I do not want to attack. With two kobolds, I want to attack with any of them beyond the first. But I want to keep buying them. It's a very unusual scenario. Human Torch is an example of a character that once I have one in play, I'm not interested in another one for the most part. Kobold sends you the signal, buy, play, attack. Beast. You buy a bunch of the beast dice early, you're going to save them all as blockers. 4 beasts are going to block one of your opponent's characters, you're going to draw a whole mess of extra dice. And so, it's just cool to think this game has come far enough that we're seeing really different motivations to be given to players as far as what they should buy and attack with, etc. I really like that Trubie is using Horn of the Unicorn. I think that its effect for his strategy is more effective than the alternative options like Invulnerability or Enrage that also have the use a bolt +1 attack. There's a limited number of globals in the game so far. I mean, it's always true, but the limit can be rather high. But right now, there's a pretty straightforward set of globals, and you can learn what those globals do and have a pretty good concept of what cards are going to show up on. It actually simplifies the game. That you're saying to yourself, oh, it's this global, and it exists in your head as a single thing. Every time Distraction flashes up on the screen, I think, wow, what a good card, what a fun picture. So earlier I spoke about AVX only Dice Masters and how McCrook can kind of sneak up on you. Distraction, not Distraction, but Gearing Up. Seeing Gearing Up in those early games, thinking like, wow, this is so good. Gearing Up is so good in a world where people are not playing aggressive beatdown strategies. And even though McCrook is not tier 1 beatdown, he's going to get you pretty quickly, and you're not going to have enough time to gear up. Okay, so we got Trubie trying to figure out where he is going to spend his energy. So he's using his using his Horn of the Unicorn die to mark where his attack bonuses are going to go. Oh, sorry, that's I thought that was a Kobold die because the color kind of confused me. He's attacking with Wolverine Wild Boy. So their players are looking at the cards, talking about them a little bit, because I off the top of my head don't know what that Wolverine does. I think he gets bonus attack damage. Okay, so Adam is going to block, and I'm going to let the players figure out the math on this one. Okay, so I mentioned this before. Adam might be put into a situation where he chooses or is forced to sacrifice Loki, and it's come upon us. But it's not a huge detriment since he gets to preserve his life points. So, okay, Adam is going to roll a crazy number of dice that are different character dice here. He's got Storm. He's got Venom. He's got Beast. And he's got Loki. And he's got all these characters on their character faces. This is going to be a really, really big turn for Adam. So potentially Adam removes potentially all of Trubie's characters. He's rerolling Beast because he needs energy, or he needs to not pay to field the Beast. Okay, let's watch Adam work the match. So I think he's gonna spend those to field somebody, because those are the least valuable energy to him. So he fields, pays 2 to field Loki. Looks like he calls Zarina again. Not a surprise, and by no means incorrect. So spends 1 to field Venom, and then Human Torch is KO'd. So that deals with a certain problem. So now he could theoretically field Storm, and if he's lucky, he rerolls both of Trubie's characters, dealing Trubie 4 damage. Yeah, so he uses the Beast to pay 1, and Trubie rerolls, and Kobold stays, Wolverine goes. He takes 2, Trubie goes to 18. So so Adam is a little uncertain what he wants to do here. He could attack to try and cause damage to Trubie with Storm. No, he passes. He's got a question mark. So he could use Blue Eyes Global during his opponent's turn, or he could use Professor X's Global during his opponent's turn. It really depends on how eager he is to get another use out of that Storm. So, boom, 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 Kobolds. Okay, so he gets 3 extra dice. So Trubie's going to get to roll 7 dice this turn from his draw and roll. And then he's going to get to roll 5 dice from his prep area. He's going to be rolling 12 dice this turn. Big roll. Tons of dice. When you're playing against someone who's inexperienced, and you sit there and do what he's doing, where, oh, I'm going to now roll 12 dice in this game where you're used to rolling 4 dice a turn. Someone sits back and says, oh, I don't have a chance at winning. Adam's laughing about it. Adam probably knows he's got a shot. It's by no means an open and shut deal for either side at this point, but it's just funny to watch someone do so much. One of the great things about Dice Masters is that you have such different strategies, right? So here we have Trubie sitting here trying to do lots and lots and lots of little things. I'm going to draw my extra die. I'm going to field my guy for free. I'm going to deal damage to you and to a character with Human Torch. And this, that. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Lots of small actions that add up. And, oh yeah, he just got excited about that roll. And all these little things add up. But when you come back to it, then you say, oh, well, what other teams have done well? Oh, well, it was a Zarina team that really only attacked with Zarina and didn't buy any of the dice. That's pretty linear. That's different. Oh, well, then there's the High Hopes team, and they're going to get an Ant-Man or a Hulk, and they're going to attack for 20 damage in one attack. Well, that's actually pretty complicated, but it's a small number of meaningful actions. Okay, that's pretty different. And all these different teams come to the arena and face off, and any given day, one could beat out the other. Any given set, one is going to genuinely be better than the other. And so just players are going to come, they're going to practice at their local stores, they're going to play local until finally they make it here when they think they have the answers, and they're going to find out who's right. Okay, so Venom has been KO'd by Human Torch damage. Really, really unlikely. So the players are asking a question about how Venom works. So Venom gives -2 attack and -2 defense to all of your opponent's non-fist characters. So conveniently for Trubie, he's basically running a fist team. Kobolds are fists, Black Widow's fists, Wolverine is fists. He's not going to purchase Doom Caliber Knight, but that is also a fist if you really needed it. And then you look at Human Torch. You look at the sidekick dice, and those guys are they're not going to escape Venom. So they're going to figure out what the result is here. So okay, so yes, sidekick should be KO'd from that. And so for those of you who are unclear about the interaction, sidekick enters play. If the sidekick enters play, is fielded, I should say, Human Torch is going to deal a point of damage to a player, and it's going to deal a point of damage to a character. That point of damage knocks out Venom, but Venom's ability gives -2 defense to the sidekick while he's in play. So there's this kind of flash moment where they're both in play, and that moment is where Venom's ability kicks into the sidekick. Trubie attacks for way more of the game. Handshake, yeah. So, really different game than what we've seen from these two guys. Definitely different. I see we got some players coming over to kind of look at what they've done here, get a sense of the match and the matchup. That's Dane, who went undefeated in our previous event. Oh, he's explaining the Human Torch play. It's a good one. So I'm gonna go over there. I'm gonna grab Trubie, and we're gonna get him on camera with us for a minute or two. Hey, so that was a very different game there. We haven't seen a lot of kobolds.
Yeah.
Okay, so why kobolds? Like, let's start at the beginning.
Well, the beginning is I hate Professor X. I really hate the Professor X Global. I think it's broken.
Okay.
And I've always been looking for ways to get around it, and ways to not use it.
Yeah.
In my own glory and pride,
Sure.
I guess. So I liked the swarm ability. I loved when I saw Swarm. I'm like, this seems like it has a lot of utility. So from there, I was like, okay, well, Swarm. But then with Human Torch,
yeah, that's the way to do it.
field him constantly, and having that with a combination of Blue Eyes. I didn't use Blue Eyes a lot in that match, but knocking out kobolds, and then instead of knocking out a sidekick, kobold has a 50% chance of coming back in rather than the 1 in 6. So that's I like the kobolds with Human Torch. I think that's just a really good combo.
So I was wondering, kind of, what would it take you to? What kind of card has to exist for you to play another Swarm character on top of the kobold to use with Human Torch?
I actually did try using the Sturge a few times.
Okay.
I actually tried to build with the Sturge, the kobolds, and that same team. I think I left out. Gobby, and tried it, and it didn't. I felt too locked into one strategy.
That makes a lot of sense. A lot of players have talked about flexibility today.
Yeah.
And I think that's a key aspect there.
And that's unfortunately my Adam there, who I just played. He's a friend of mine. We drove in from West Virginia for the game, and we've played each other a lot. So I sort of knew going in that he had Venom. I knew the strategies to use against them. That basically abandon anything with sidekicks, abandon anything with.
So Venom's actually, I really like Venom as a card that it's never totally dead. It's either gonna it's gonna be preventative, or it's gonna work on the non-fist guys, or you can spin down the fist guys with the global. Spinning down your fist guys isn't that big a deal for you, though, right?
No.
Yeah. So we have found this situation where Venom is not as exciting as usual. Okay. He was calling Zarina with Loki, but that doesn't seem to be a big deal either. There's just flexibility added again, you think?
Yeah, quite honestly, hopefully no one hears this, but I think with that build, almost the Kobold is almost the best thing to stop. I mean, they're kind of benign looking, but I don't know. For my engine, I really like having those Kobolds in there and working with those.
They're really, really efficient. I was saying how I like that the Kobold motivates you to play a little bit differently than other cards.
Yeah.
That Beast, I want to buy lots of them, and I want to keep lots of them in play. Then there's, Zarina. I want to buy lots of them, and I want to attack with all of them all the time. Kobold, you always want one in play. You don't want two. That's usually not the thing.
Yeah.
Have you had issues with Magic Missile? 'Cause I feel like that's a Kobold problem.
Actually, yes.
Okay.
My wife, she's playing a team with Magic Missile.
Yeah.
And she knows my team, and she usually would go after the Kobolds and go after my sidekicks, so basically shutting down my
two different things.
Yeah, she's shutting down Gabi, and she's shutting down the Human Torch Kobold engine. So she knows how to stop that, and coming into today, I was really worried because in most of her games, she was beating me pretty consistently.
Yeah.
But, thankfully, it worked so far today.
That's what counts. So make it through today. So if you make it through today and qualify for tomorrow, you're just going to play the same team no matter what?
Yeah.
Good deal.
It's fun. I like it. And
that's what counts.
I don't have high hopes, but...
Okay.
But,
no pun intended.
Yeah, it's my team. I stand by it.
That's good. I think lots of people rise to be champions through that kind of attitude because they have a good feeling, they know something special, and you gotta trust yourself.
Right.
Cool. Well, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.